Hey guys, what is up? So today we're looking at this lovely little Suzuki Swift. We're going to be doing a service on this, and I want to make a beginner-friendly content so newer, younger, fresher people can get in the automotive scene and learn the joys about vehicles. So if you know nothing about cars, you want to learn how to service your car, this is going to be one for you. I'm going to cover some things that normally are overlooked, and we'll get more into detail on that. But not too much information, so don't worry. First of all, difficulty level out of 10, this is like a 1. It's really easy to do. I'll show you guys. So with this 2008 Suzuki Swift, we have our intake here. So this top thing here is the airbox. And then over here, you'll have your engine. So interesting thing to look here is you see these little protrusive things there. It's covered in metal. So this is a timing chain engine. You get two types. You get the timing belt, which normally has a plastic cover. So if you have a plastic cover here that can take off and you see a belt there, that's a timing belt. You got to change those every 50,000 Ks. My rule of thumb is 50,000 Ks. If you have one of these with a little timing chain on it, I like to change those every 90,000 if it's a luxury car, or 120,000 if it's just a passenger vehicle like this Swift. So we're not going to be worrying about the timing chain on the service just yet. She still has another 15,000 Ks on, and we'll get to work on that. One of my favorite things to do is timing. I do enjoy that quite a bit, but I digress. Here is your 710 cap, or engine oil as it's known. So 710. And then here we have our brake fluid reservoir. This is where our brake fluid goes in. I normally don't really change this because as the pads wear and expand, it'll affect the level. We have our window washer bottle here. This little thing with a bunch of pipes coming out there, it has a square block that's shiny and a black round thing. This is your ABS module, so advanced braking system. We're not going to be fiddling with that today, but it's good to know that it is there. This little thing here, I'll get a light on there. Light's not coming on, but that's your engine mount over here. And then moving on to the other side, you'll have some pipes here. So that's your intake pipes. That's your throttle body. So your throttle body here has a little wire there, and then a little thing there that you pull. So this is a cable. Can you guys even see there? So this is a cable actuated throttle body. I like these more than the electrical ones. So if you've ever seen the movies, a guy reaches in the engine and revs the car by touching the engine. This is what it's doing. It's moving that thing, and that makes the car rev. So yeah, and underneath here, so we're gonna have to take this airbox off because underneath this cover we're gonna have spark plugs. We're gonna take them out and have a look at them. And then here we have our washer bottle. So this washer bottle here goes to the radiator. Radiator is what keeps the car cool. So as the car is kept cool, it helps you to drive normally, better efficiency and all that. And over here you'd have your ECU. So I'm assuming that's ECU. Yeah, that looks like an ECU as well. Also battery. And then here you'd have your fuse box. So yeah, there we go. So your fuse boxes. So these big blue things over here, those are relays. They just have a small current that turns on a big current, but we'll get to that. And then here are your small little tiny fuses over there. I'll do a video on those electricals as well. It is in the works. But I've actually, in all my years, I think only 3 or 4 times I've had an issue where there was a fuse that went out. It's not normally the fuse. Unless you've been working with electronics, probably not the fuse. And then, okay, so here we have our induction pipe. So obviously you'll have your intake. So this is where air would come into the engine. So you just basically look at the big black thing and then look where the pipe comes in. So it comes in here, runs to there. And then here you see a little clip there. So that's probably going to be where air filter is sitting. So if we clip those off, right here, so they just clip off. If it clips off, it means it's a maintenance service thing. It's not something you got to worry about. And then obviously here we'll see our air filter. Now I've already changed this one because I've been trying to take a few hits on this because I want to make sure you guys get the best content you can get. And I've done it a few times and failed a few times and had to redo it, everything. And I do all my stuff one take, so I don't have video editing software. I'm good with fixing things. I'm not good at making videos. I say that a lot of times, but yeah, it's just for the community, so you guys can kind of see how these things work. So when you service your vehicle, you want to do an oil change, an air filter, a cabin filter, a fuel filter if it's equipped or doesn't have an in-tank fuel filter, and then your spark plugs. So spark plugs, air, fuel, oil, and cabin. Those are your 5 things you want to change. So let's get into that. So we've actually like moved the car onto level service. We've been running it for about a minute, not too long because otherwise the engine gets hot. You just want to have enough heat so that the oil can flow. So we've had the car jacked up a little bit. Let me show you guys what I did there. Okay, so we are underneath the vehicle. We have our jack point here. Normally they're about in this area of the vehicle, and then you want to look for, it always has like a little streamer rail here that runs there. You can jack on one of these, but this is a plastic cover, so it's going to damage it. And in all the vehicles you see them, but all your newer modern ones have these little points here. So something that's like a solid rock point there, and that's going to be what holds your vehicle in. And then for your jack stands, you can put them on your subframe here. So this big X thing on the bottom here, that's your subframe. And then here's a channel. Now, I want to show you guys here. So you see how there's like some indentation there. So someone has been putting their stands over here, but listen to this sound. That is hollow inside. You have about 1 ton above your head, and you want to put a stand there. And then this is just a plug. That's just a plug. You can take this out. It's hollow. There's nothing holding it in. So that's not going to hold the vehicle up. You want to get a solid bolt like that that holds the vehicle's weight, or you want to go on the center structure. So listen to this sound and compare it to this sound. Completely different. So you can actually use your sound by tapping your finger on it to hear where's the solid place. So I know I kind of want my stand over here. I gotta get a little bit higher, but get in there, and then I'll get this on there. So I'm just gonna jack it up a little bit more. Okay, now I need a bit more force than that in the position I'm in now. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna pull our oil sump plug off. So let's see if we can have a look at the oil sump plug. So right about there is your sump plug. Now you always have like a really big black square at the bottom, a round oval or black square, but you'll have one like this. On French cars, they put them in really horrible places, and then the oil goes everywhere, so that's bad. But you just need a wrench to that. You don't need any fancy tools to do this. It's pretty straightforward. So let's see if I can actually do that from this side. So let me get my tool, and then I'll have a look at that. Okay, so we have our wrench here. So this is a 17 wrench. It goes on there. Let me show you guys. I actually want to show you guys the tools of this. Hold up. So ideally you want to have like a nice little set like this with all the fancy little sockets and things. Complete overkill for what you want to do. Normal wrench is just fine. And because this is for the average home user, we're not going to use any of our fancy tools. No impact guns, no fancy tools, just straightforward hand wrenches. Very good investment to have. This is probably the tool I use the most out of everything. This little tiny little travel case of boxes. Only thing I don't like about this is there's no 18. That kind of grinds me a bit, but besides that, it's a good set. And that, so we're just going to grab a 17 here, and then break this sump plug loose. Okay, so we have now identified our sump. Our sump over here, right? Our engine oil thing in there. That's our plug there. So we want to use the wrench. We're not going to use the front end of the wrench, because normally these are just for like hard to reach places, and they're hard to get into, but they round off your nuts over time, so of the bolts. So we use the closed end because it has a better surface area of connection, and also it's a closed loop so the metal's not flexing. And do that, slip it on there. And now the little hack that mechanics like to use. So you can use this. It's going to be a bit tight. It's going to be a bit tricky to get it in there. So I actually get up a stand for this. We can now use a second wrench, hook it in over there, and now I've got more leverage. So when we break it loose, you don't hurt your hand, and it'll come loose just like that. And she should be hand tight right there, just like that. So maybe don't foam things when you do them, break them loose first and then you bring them off, because you can see how easily that thing just came off and then hit you there. So obviously if you had your socket set, you probably wouldn't run into that. So that's a good thing we've got that on camera. So yeah, that's a good thing. Now we have this here. We want to look, because this is pointing at an angle there. So as this comes out, the oil's going to drip down there. So first we want to get a rag close by. Let's get our rag. We have our rag because we're going to get covered in oil. And then we're just going to unscrew this. Now what you want to do is you want to hold your finger on there. Takes a bit of practice, and then turn it like that. So what you want to do is you want to kind of halt the oil flow just a little bit, and then hopefully this goes according to plan, otherwise it's not going to. But you want to hold the oil in, and then very quickly fly it away. So take it away. So long bolt. I haven't changed oil on this specific Suzuki before. I've only had it a few days. Right, so she's actually getting a bit loose there, right? A bit oil there, and take it away. And that's how you prevent oil from spilling all over your hands. And then what you want to do, you want to move that to the rag. And then what you want to do here is you want to monitor where the oil's coming down, because as it's pouring down there, see how it's kind of moving in, because the oil flow is decreasing. So you want to move this closer with it, so when it's done, it doesn't drip on the ground. Just like that. So oil is actually very viscous. It means viscous is the fancy word for it, meaning it's thick. So it'll actually cling to surfaces as well, and then like sort of drip back and then down, kind of like you see I was doing there. So she's actually dripping in that direction, and that's what you want to factor in. So there you can see a pretty good curve, how the oil's curving backwards when she's flowing out. So if you're doing this at home as a DIY project, keep that in mind so that you don't accidentally get oil all over your nice floors. Also, we have a little carpet here to prevent any spills, and I'm actually going to leave that like that for a while to continue draining. And we're going to move on to the oil filter, which sits right about here. Oh, there it is. So this little round thing here, that's your oil filter, and you want to put them on hand tight. Got a bit of oil leak there by the looks of it, but I'm going to investigate what that actually is. Looks like the sump's leaking a little bit. Oh yeah, no worries. So here's an oil filter. You can get wrenches for these, which are pretty tricky. Alternatively, there are tools you can use like water pump pliers and things like that. So I have a specific strap that I like to use. Very, very handy. I'll show you guys how that works in a second. So let me go get that. Okay, so here we have our filter strap. Probably one of the most useful tools I have in my arsenal. And this will basically go around the oil filter. It'll tension up. Let's see if I can get a better tension up there. And then it will loosen. Now, I don't think I can do this while filming. So it goes around there. And then here. So, yeah, like that. So it's going to go around there. And then it's going to tighten up. I'm going to loosen it. So I'm really going to loosen this thing here. I have to put the camera down for that because I need both hands for this, and I can't get the stand underneath here. So do bear with me. Alright, yeah, so we've got that. Sorry for the bad footage. And we can now turn this by hand. So a little trick I learned when I was working on the skidder. So little construction machineries, little tiny little dozers with some construction sites. Ziploc bag over the oil filter. Oh, some bad footage, sorry guys. And then rotate your seal off. I don't really quite get it there, but yeah, so it greatly reduces the mess coming out of your... I got my seal wrong right there, just catching on the edge there because I'm trying to film it with one hand. But yeah, so this little Ziploc bag method really does save a lot of trouble. I'm gonna need two hands for this, so bear with me.